back together again.
Can you believe this place is gone?
Yeah, they moved it and renamed it to be more...
Remember we drew a crowd with the film crew?
Yeah, we did, actually. There was...
You know, I was actually most proud that every time we filmed that one-handed no-look catch, I actually fucking caught it. I was I was on my game.
There was at least one drop, but I think it was a decent... Oh, yeah, let's get in here. What's up?
Hello and welcome to Talkie Bed! I'm Eric Murphy.
I'm Jamie Boone.
It is September 29th, 2019. It's Season 3, Episode 39. Dude.
And our 99th episode. So stay tuned for when we either announce or don't announce the special stuff that we definitely already have planned, for our 100th episode that's next week. So,
You have stuff planned?
Yes.
Oh, dear sweet. Okay, so, you know what? No, this is a good time. This is a good lead-in. When it comes to preparing things, we had a bet at the beginning of this month.
Yeah, we did.
And it's time to talk about this.
It's time to talk about a good show, sir. I'm sorry that you lost. It's fine.
Technically, I won. Not in the spirit of it. Okay.
So I do love that you use the word technically there.
Hold on.
Because a video showed up on your channel. Well, first, okay.
Let's throw this up.
Let's roll the
Let's go to the
roll the tape, Mark.
When are you gonna be doing your stuff? At
Soon.
Jamie the Heathen,
Soon.
who has everything on freaking social
That's
media.
True.
Jamie the Heathen.
I was gonna say I now do.
Yeah?
It's Jamie the Heathen on everything. It's Jamie the Heathen on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Snapchat, Twitter. I don't know why I left that one till third because it's kind of my favorite. What am I thinking? Oh, YouTube.
So they can subscribe to Jamie the Heathen on YouTube and see all of your nothing, just like me.
All right, you know what?
No, we're in the same boat. We're in the same boat.
Now that I've been sufficiently
we can shame each other. No, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Fine.
Dude, how about this? I'll issue you a challenge.
Ooh, all right. Well, I'm going to win.
Jamie,
so.
Here's the challenge.
Let's see.
It's September 8th, 2019. I challenge you to see who can get your channel started by the end of the month first.
Who can get my... I accept.
Channel. My
which
channel
one of us
channel.
is going to start my channel by the end of the month?
Yeah, you want to do it? By the end of the month.
Did you say first?
Commit.
Or
the first one of us to launch our channel with our respective channels with actual content and not just a "Hey, I beat Eric" video.
You know me very well, so I was going to say with content created after this handshake.
Sure.
None of this pre-prepared card out of a deck of cards squirting cider in my ear.
Done.
Yes.
All
if
right.
you got that musical reference, you're
All
great.
Right. Woo. There we go.
Yeah.
With content created
after the handshake. So, what
I
you released,
I released
a post-debate interview. When was that post-debate interview recorded?
Oh, it was recorded about 2 months ago.
Yeah. So before the handshake would be the
No,
time?
the intro and outro I recorded 2 days ago.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
It is with content produced after the handshake.
Yeah. So
I released on YouTube. I'm really excited. And here's the thing.
So,
no, hold on. I've got to pick this up.
All right.
I've got to pick this up.
Okay.
Because here's the deal.
I'm about to interrupt.
Right.
But okay.
No. I put this out and I'm like, cool. I get it up on Patreon. Yada yada yada. That's fantastic. And then I get a message from some fans and they're like, "Nah, bro, that doesn't count."
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, hold on.
From some fans and also me, like, whoa.
Okay,
and
it's
that's
not the spirit.
reason. That's the reason I said after this handshake, because for all I knew, that was a setup, and you had it like scheduled to release.
Nope.
Immediately after. You could have done that with the content that you had already recorded about stuff that you did before. So just out of curiosity, if you had gone through, changed nothing but like color corrected a frame of your video, would that have been produced after the handshake?
No, because it's with content produced after.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, an edited video is different than the raw footage.
I wouldn't go that far. Come on.
Oh, you wouldn't go that far, but you admit that you've gone some distance.
Oh, I do. It doesn't match the spirit of the thing.
Yeah.
And so, here's the deal.
And Eric is all about killing spirits, but I still won because last night, my YouTube channel went live.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, with a nice introduction video that I finished yesterday despite events. So I declare myself the victor.
Well, so
Cheers.
I also released an intro video yesterday, but I finished it at like an unreasonable hour of the morning, and I waited until people were awake.
You waited.
Notifications.
You didn't launch it until after I launched mine.
So here's the deal. We have a poll right now connected to this video. Who won? I know that when I came in this morning, we were talking to a fan who's here. Hello. Who said that that
I won and that yours doesn't count?
Well, So
here's what I would say. We should have these polls, but we also need to create a post on the Reddit that allows people to debate with reasons, because let's face it, sure, the opinions of the people that watch matter, and that's good, and that will be taken into account. However, because we're not just going to debate them in favor of Eric ad populum. We're also going to argue reasons.
Hold on.
Which is what our channels are about.
Fair enough.
Also, I like this.
Yeah, this was submitted. I love it.
This is beautiful. If you submit stuff, it might show up here.
It might.
Han Verholden. Jinx, you lose the challenge. So by the
Jamie,
power of Jinx.
How can people find your channel?
That's a good question, because I'm not actually good at YouTube independently yet, but the name of my channel is Jamie the Heathen.
Dig it, man.
Yeah.
Just like everything else, all of your other social media stuff, Twitter, Instagram, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, and if they're having trouble finding it, the last thing that I tweeted, which I'll pin, is a link to my intro video and the channel.
Dig it, man.
Yeah, because I don't have a custom channel yet, because I didn't launch a channel and then leave it there with no content for people to subscribe to.
That didn't happen.
Mr. 100, you launched it with your old video recorded before the handshake?
I created the channel and didn't get a single subscriber until after I put video up.
Okay, video that you recorded before the handshake?
It is verified, and people can find me on youtube.com/Eric D. Murphy. And I've got the part 2 with Matt Dillahunty and my intro. So if you want to check that out, yay! And also got a Patreon. Did you start up a Patreon?
I think Patreon is still verifying that I exist or something. Clearly, I'm not being vain and self-absorbed enough, because
Patreon.com/Eric Murphy. Anyway.
Patreon.com/ I don't know yet. So it'll be Jamie the Heathen when it goes up.
But here's actually what is more important. And if you do get to subscribe and become a patron, definitely support this show. This is a nonprofit. This is something that we absolutely adore, and the money that comes in helps keep the lights on. It helps us to create more content and to be able to go out and help other organizations that really deserve the hand up. And it's damn important. If you'd like to become a patron, we do thank our top 5 patrons 2/3 of the way through the episode. I will check immediately before I do that. You can go to patreon.com/talkheathen to me. That's patreon.com/talkheathen to me. Please do. That said,
so I haven't officially decided, but I think there's something that we should do about our all-time patrons, at least. All-time top patrons.
If you make a promise that you're not willing to, I swear to you,
I'm gonna be good to my word.
I wear cowboy boots.
I'm gonna be good to my word. For example, recording content after I say I'm gonna record it. No, I was thinking either a haiku or a poem or what are those?
Well, a soliloquy. Sounds good. Sounds like if you become a top patron, Jamie will write you a haiku. Very nice, Jamie. I love it.
Okay, so you it's decided. Fuck. All right, I'm gonna practice writing a bunch of haikus. Let me see if I can improvise one.
No, we're not. No, Jamie, I actually do.
Eric lost the challenge. Jamie is super duper cool. Yeah. Jamie won challenge. All right. Boom.
And I know that people are dying for us to get into calls, but there is something important that we do need to talk about, something that's not as fun. Jamie, I got a call yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
And the call was that your baby.
Yeah, anyone that's seen my Instagram, there's pictures I have of Hank that are not the in memoriam pictures that I haven't posted yet, but I'm not just wearing plain black, all black every article of clothing I'm wearing.
carrying Hank's collar and drinking a cup.
Yeah, it's a cup that my parents got for me, I think, for Christmas because they just thought of me because it says cat in 10 different languages. And so this morning when I woke up, I was actually a little bit later getting here than I planned on being.
Which is understandable.
Yeah, and definitely the first time that's ever happened. Not. But yeah, so it's actually the first time I've used it. Hi, Mom and Dad. I still liked the gift even before I used it for sadness. I'm going to make you laugh while I'm sad. It's a challenge.
Jamie, I'm so sorry for your loss, man.
Yeah,
Jamie's cat died, and Hank meant a lot to Jamie.
He was 3 years old. He died yesterday. He was born April 4th, 2016.
We have a picture of Hank.
We do. That one. And with his full name, Hank Fuzzy Paws, and title that I gave him, The Cow Cat, which is a reference and play on like an old series of books, Hank the Cow Dog, that are Texan. But yeah, I raised him from 7 weeks old, 7 weeks and 1 day old. And so
I'm glad you're here today.
Yeah. I don't know why I decided I was going to definitely cry on camera, but
okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It is. So I joke about being vain, and everyone knows that I'm also serious, but evidently my best grieving process also involves, look at me, I'm sad.
Yeah.
So,
Jamie, I remember, we are going to dive into the first call, but first I do want to tell you, I do remember the very first time I ever went to your house and I met Hank, and you made it very clear that I will never be as important as Hank.
I did that.
And then I met your other cat, Cat 2,
joking,
and I was just like, what's that cat's name? He's like, Cat 2. And I was like, no, seriously, what's your cat's name? He's like, no, it's Cat 2. And I was
it's
like,
not Cat 2, it's Katu. You should say it like it's almost one syllable, and it's Katu. It's not spelled with a number, as someone once thought at one point. Love you too. It's the last thing I'll say is that it's actually 2 days before my roommate had people over and they were cooking in the kitchen. So it was like my roommate and 6 strangers, and Hank, as he always does, came out and greeted all of them because he loved people. He was the greatest cat in the world, and I'm not afraid to challenge that. And no one, no matter how much you love your cat, need argue with it, because your cat can be the greatest cat in the world now because the previous one.
Oh, fuck, man.
Yeah. And, yeah. Get ready for my first very decidedly sad Instagram post, because that is part of why I was late, as I was like, I've thought of something else that I need to capture in memoriam. And don't worry. I'll be sad later, too. Don't worry. And there'll be more sad stuff. But
let's dive into the first.
Let's dive into our first caller.
Josh in Ohio. You helped us test the phone lines. Thank you for calling in. You're talking to Eric and Jamie.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you? Sorry if I stutter at all. I'm a little nervous. I see 1,000 people are watching right now. So.
Oh shit. Well.
Yeah.
No worries, man. Take your time. What's up?
Mm-hmm. So I'm a believer, Christian specifically, and I honestly, I've had a lot of questions and doubts, but I'm not quite ready to give up faith yet.
Sure.
But I feel like atheists are kind of validating a certain scripture in the Bible. Would you say that the gospel does it sound foolish to you guys, the whole story of the gospel, or maybe the Bible entirely?
So foolish, no. And I know what you're referencing. I don't think it's foolish. I know plenty of people who would say that it's foolish. I think it's misguided. I think that what you have is a very old text that a lot of people take seriously. And you have a lot of people who grew up learning that, epistemically, this is how you know what is true. And so is it foolish to operate using the tools that you were given and the only tools that you have? No, it's not foolish. Go ahead.
I was going to say, this is I'm not sure whether I blanked and missed this is the fool has said in his heart, there is no God.
No, okay. I was going to turn to 1 Corinthians 1:18, where it says, "For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to those who are being saved, it is the power of God."
For it is written, "I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, the intelligent of the intelligent."
So that sounds like a really, really...
We just got rickrolled
live.
That is amazing.
Yeah. I was going to say, so actually, there's a whole I was sad before, but now, welcome, Rickroll Nation over here.
I quit. We made it.
Okay, well, don't quit
this was
now.
Fun. This was great.
In the middle of it.
Take care.
You know
this
what?
has been Talk Heathen.
I'm going to sit in your chair.
Nope. Okay. No.
And you joke about how often I fart. I don't, but I will fart in it if you.
He has made this tiny area just unbearable.
False.
Okay.
So actually.
That is amazing.
Before the Rickroll, he actually brought up something that's interesting because people do actually make that objection. So we can respond not to a person, but that objection.
Yeah, because it actually
right
is
after we point out that. How many other channels on YouTube have been Rickrolled live? So we're the best. Eat it, atheist experience. But no.
Wow.
So, yesterday someone came over to my house.
Are we a little?
You have a blank check to say whatever now. And I was like, cats. Anyway, people do that. People take the quote from Romans that's the fool has said in his heart there is no God.
Yeah.
And now there's another one that I actually hadn't heard quoted before, but it comes to the same thing because it's effectively someone is writing it's a translation of a translation of a copy, translate, blah, 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 blah. But it's effectively, oh yeah, well, if you say I'm wrong, you're wrong, the argument, but from Scripture. Because it provides nothing but, the Scripture is good, and it doesn't matter if you're wise because you're wrong. People that believe it are right.
Yeah. So,
but with better and different words. It's actually interesting that they made it a little bit
to that.
Yeah, please.
Tying into that, what I'll say is, oh my gosh, I'm picking it up from you. What I'll say is, we need to get that bingo app up so people can play bingo and hit that. Where I wanted to jump in was, we look for falsifiable claims. If you're making a claim, we need to know whether or not we can prove it. And if there's a way to disprove it. Because if not, then what the hell are you going to do? That's essentially the brain in a vat, a hard solipsist argument, right? It's what if we're all in the Matrix? Well, how do you know? Well, there's no way of telling. Well, if there's no way of telling, then it's unfalsifiable, and that's it. So what you have is that verse in Corinthians, it protects itself, because what it's saying is, I'm right, and if you say I'm wrong,
it's because you're wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. If you say I'm wrong, it's because you're wrong. There is no way out of it, and it's just this wonky circular reasoning that I think for those of you believers who are watching, you can do better than that.
You really can.
You absolutely can. Come on.
I mean, at a certain point, even the elaborate, not quite scientific, but an atom spins at 5.964.249, whatever, argument is at least elaborate enough that it takes a little bit more reflection before you realize that it's not a good argument.
But yeah. Okay. Let's talk to Alan in California.
Hey, Alan.
Hey,
how
Alan.
are you?
Hi, Jamie. It's nice to meet you. And hello, Eric. It's nice to speak to you again. I still can't believe you guys got Rick rolled. That was glorious.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, regardless of religious stance, that's great. But anyway, I thought about what you had talked to me, Eric, when I spoke with you and Vila Bianca about, why is it that I have a higher standard for people to believe in God or to believe in other things, but not for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of thought to myself, all right, I don't buy into what the Bible says. I don't like it when growing up, people were telling me God sometimes puts us through the mud to test us. And yet at the same time, they try to say it's not a religion, it's a relationship. That's kind of the non-denominational attitude here in California. So I kind of got to thinking to myself, okay, if it's a relationship and not a religion, then why do I need a book and a person, preacher or whatever, to speak on God's behalf?
Yeah.
So I guess I could kind of quickly go over this and have you critique it, because I just want to be analyzed from a non-Christian perspective.
Sure, man.
We're a non-Christian perspective.
And
yeah, of course.
And really quickly, I've got to tell you, just empathetically, man, that feeling is one that I absolutely relate to. It's kind of this, okay, I still have this belief, but I kind of need it to fit my understanding of the world. And right now it's not all the edges are fitting into place. And so I'm working on it. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Alan.
No, by all means. And I hope my voice isn't too loud, because it's kind of hard to get an idea. And I heard my last call, I was like, wow, I repeat myself way too much and I was way too loud.
Oh, dude, no worries, man. We have an audio engineer who's a wizard as well. We're good. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Well, I kind of got to thinking, as I mentioned before, there was that spiritual experience I had back in the Army when I basically talked to my friend. I was like, hey, look, I don't believe in the Bible. I believe in X, Y, and Z. And she said, well, why don't you just pray to him directly? So I was like, okay. And in the midst of that experience or hallucination, you won't believe how many Christians got mad at me for calling a hallucination on your show. I'm like, yeah, because I didn't want to derail the argument. Anyway, I kind of asked God, like, okay, God, who are you? Are you Krishna? Are you Vishnu? Who are you? And it didn't feel like someone was speaking into my head. Like I didn't hear a voice, but I felt like my brain was registering words that weren't mine. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wow, is the Army really driving me this insane? And basically I was told it's Jesus. And I asked, well, what about this scripture? What about your Bible? I find your Bible reprehensible. Like when you tell the Israelites to go rape the Canaanite women, when you tell people, even Jesus, the hippie of the Bible, tells people, hey, obey your abusive slave masters. Yeah. Like, really? And to which his response was apparently, I don't care what you think. I don't care what you doubt. I love you. I care about you. I appreciate that you want to follow me, and I'm never going to let you go. And it was at that point where I kind of made an agreement with God where I was like, okay, God, look, I'll obey you. And if there's anything you want me to do or want me to stop doing, you need to be the one to tell me, because I've been lied to. I've been cheated on. I've been deceived. Religion's been used to control my behavior, to control my outlook, even so much as a career choice. So you're going to have to be the one that tells me yourself. And I've noticed that Christians do not accept that. And to me, it's shocking. It's like, wow, really? You tell me it's all about relationship. But as soon as I'm not fitting into your idea of what a Christian should be, you're telling me that it was either a demon or that it was a hallucination. Christians have told me that my experience was a hallucination. I'm like, well, how do you know yours is legitimate and mine is not?
Well, because it happened to them.
Yeah. Well, so here's I have a couple problems with this, which is one, an individual human's experience is not strong evidence for almost anything, right? There's things that are so mundane where you're just sort of like, you could believe that just because someone thought that it was true. Like, oh, today I had a cup of tea for breakfast, and that's not part of my usual breakfast, but I did anyway. That is not an extraordinary claim because tea is ubiquitous and people drink it. My problem for things like I had this experience and Jesus, et cetera, is you have to remember that you're in a culture that talks about Jesus. And if you look at how these things came about and you think about the way that human minds have been tested to work, the fact that a person had an experience that is easily attributable, particularly by a person who believes, to Jesus, is not exclusive evidence that Jesus exists. It's also exactly what you would expect if human beings had evolved to be pattern-seeking social creatures, desirous of, order that can be controlled in the world, that are driven by emotional, as I've said before on the show, sticks and carrots. So I had an experience that doesn't match with reality, and it means a lot to me emotionally, is just as strong evidence for actually the mind of a human being evolved And that is the explanation for these experiences. It matches equally with that model as with the less solid, all but entirely imagined model of, by the way, there's a single force in the universe that created all of it and however many gajillion black holes just 'cause, so that on one tiny planet humans would exist.
Could I help summarize that a bit?
Yeah.
So that would be hallucinations happen. We know that they happen. We study them.
Yeah.
Miracles are not something that we have evidence for and have been able to study. And so if you take a look at what you've been through, especially in a time of crisis, having an auditory hallucination is the most common. It happens to people. I remember when I was searching, I had an auditory hallucination. I heard a voice. It said Hashem. Yeah. That's when I tried to become Jewish. And I.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, Alan, you're not gonna believe this. Okay, so you know this. If you ever want to become Jewish, you're supposed to go to the rabbi, and they're supposed to deny you 3 times, right?
Oh, of course.
I went to
the pattern.
Yeah, I went to a rabbi, and I was like, I want to become Jewish, and they're like, nah. I was like, well, fuck you then. I'm going to go to a different rabbi. And so I went to a different, and I did this, and I was like, okay, they don't want me.
Because it was each rabbi's first refusal. Yeah.
That's such bullshit.
Judaism plays hard to get, is what you should know.
But regardless, I'm wanting to relate here. I absolutely have been through a place where I experienced a hallucination, and it's actually unremarkable, and it's something that happens to everybody. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. Also, I noticed something that I really keyed into when you were talking about this, and that is, Alan, dude, when you were talking about this, you said the Christians. In your description of it, do you realize that you're labeling yourself as separate?
In a sense, yeah. I guess at this point, I think at this point I'm an agnostic Christian. Correct me if that's an invalid term.
No, that's a perfectly valid term.
Because I don't know anything. I don't know about the Bible. I don't know about X, Y, and Z, but I still believe. It's just that. Sure. And this is something I guess I'll add that was something that was kind of an apologetic I made for myself, but then I immediately came up with a rebuttal. My apologetics were, Alan, do you really want to betray God when he's been looking out for you just because man wrote badly about him, just because man decided to make him look like a dick in the Old Testament? For example, I live in this home. It was thanks to my mom and a Christian community that she's close-knit with, nice people, that I'm in this home now paying $700 a month, as opposed to when I was briefly homeless. I mean, luckily I had resources as a veteran, but part of me is like, should I betray this community? But then I look at the Atheist Community of Austin. You guys do really good stuff for people, and you have no theology. And I thought to myself this, if God is this person that's so close to you that, you know what, let me pause and recollect my thoughts here.
Yeah. So let me just say 2 things very quickly, which is one, I don't think that you're betraying a community by being honest with yourself, right? Right. You don't have an obligation to try and force or resist thinking about things and determining what you believe is true because you're in a community, right? So there's that, which makes this now 3 things I want to say. So the other thing being, as a side note, I'm glad that things have worked out for you and that you're no longer homeless. All right, now the other 2 things, which is that the argument of would you betray God because people wrote poorly about him? The reason that people cite and the text that has accompanied Christianity since, parts of texts that et cetera, have accompanied Christianity through the years for at least 1,000 of them. That's what people cite as evidence for God. And the just because the evidence is bad doesn't mean it's real is precisely what people that believe that the Illuminati is in control of everything say when you point out, actually your evidence is bad, and they go, oh, but that's exactly what the Illuminati would want to happen. It's so even if the evidence is wrong, it's every misuse of, the exception proves the rule. It's like, no, actually, that's a legal doctrine that's entirely different. No, if you say there's something universal, if you say the rule is X and you see an exception to it, that rule is broken. If you rest your belief on evidence and that evidence fails, then so does that particular belief. You can go and you can look for other evidence and maybe it's true, right? If I believe that generally this guy appears blue to people because someone said so and someone points out people can lie, I've destroyed that evidence, but you can go outside and look. So if you're trying to find a reason or examine why people believe in God, and you've recognized that the Bible isn't good evidence, then either you should not believe in God or have better evidence. And actually, if you do not have better evidence, even if you find it later, right now when you don't have good evidence, it's best to be honest with yourself and recognize that I currently hold a belief that I don't have good evidence for. The intellectually honest and the best thing to do epistemologically is to recognize that you shouldn't hold that belief.
Yep.
Yeah, because I really don't have any evidence for it. And I remembered what I was going to say, but I even came up with a rebuttal on my own when I came up with that. I was, the whole thing of like, why let man ruin it, and to let, don't betray God because someone else spoke poorly of him. But then I thought, wait a minute, if someone were to spread a rumor about me and someone that I'm apparently supposed to be close to, I would do everything in my power to tell a person, hey, listen, this person lied about me. Here's X, Y, and Z as to why that's a lie, and here's what the truth is. Yet God has yet to tell me, okay, this passage in the Bible, that was me. Oh, that passage about slavery and rape, I never said that. Yeah. God has never offered any rebuttals to any of the, claims about him. So that's the part of me that's kind of like,
You kind of got to go in with a Sharpie and start lining things out.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Don't rip the page out if the entire page is pointless. They get mad at you for that. I found that out.
Oh my gosh.
I found that out.
Yeah.
That is, but anyway, I think we're starting to slow down here. So I'm going to move on to the next caller. But Alan, dude, this is a huge amount of progress from your last call.
I actually
thanks.
But what blows my mind is, even if you had turned around and doubled down, the fact that you're approaching this in an honest way is exemplary. And whichever way you go through this, the fact that you're approaching it honestly and wanting to explore and wanting to, it is fantastic. And I just wanted to thank you so much. That's everything that we hope for.
Thanks. I appreciate your patience, both of you. And
thank you.
Tell V I said thank you as well.
V's right in the audience and waves and says yes.
V, Alan says thank you. Well, I did it.
So, all right.
Thank you.
Take care, brother.
Yeah. Actually,
you as well, thanks.
So the last thing that I want to, well, he's gone. He can watch the episode back. But the last thing that I want to say on this point is that one of the things to do when you're trying to figure out whether something that is big like this is true, right, is to go back to square one and say, okay, if it was true that there was a God that created the universe specifically for human beings and somewhat looked like us and wanted to commune with us and have this special relationship, what would you expect from that? Wouldn't you expect a universe that was as suited to human beings as it could be, that didn't have weird, horrifying, special diseases and creatures whose entire lifespan is dependent on leeching off and harming human beings? Wouldn't you expect clear and undeniable evidence that God was there all the time?
Arable land, drinkable
everyone,
water.
Right? I know my parents exist, and I know that my parents love me because they're there and they communicate with me. And they don't need people with books and preachers that want 10% of my income to tell me that. Why would God be less powerful than my parents? There isn't a reason for it.
And this is for people who believe that specifically. Obviously.
Yeah, they believe that specifically, but like go back and see. Okay, just
people could say God doesn't give a fuck.
He wants to show us how to play hide and seek super well.
Yeah. So I mean, but that's why we meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
So we're going to be moving on to the next call, but I do want to give the phone number a shout. And the Discord. Yay. Check out the Discord. We've got amazing people in there. I was in there and I saw Kemal and talked to him, and it was really, really nice. I also want to say that if you would like to talk to us, here's the deal. Put your money where your mouth is. You believe, you're watching this, and I know you are. Call in 512-686-0279. We've got some availability, and we want to talk to you. And the lines fill up quickly, so don't wait. Dean, the apologist, called in, I think, 3 weeks in a row, and he called too late and wound up getting, 0 lines were available. So call now, 512-686-0279.
And for those of you that don't think you can get on the show, right now we actually have a couple lines that are open. Also, if you believe and you think this show is great, put your money where your mouth is and support us on Patreon at patreon.com/talkheathen to me. But also, if you believe, put your mouth where your faith is. 1 Peter 3:15, call in.
Dig it. Mike in Virginia. You're talking to Eric and Jamie. How are you doing?
Yeah, fantastic. And I'm glad I got on the Rickroll episode, too.
Yeah. Well, so that said, it's funny once. It's way less funny the second time.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Of course.
But what do you want to talk about?
Okay, so I grew up in a fundamentalist, Assemblies of God church.
I'm sorry to hear that.
When I was, yeah, well, I got out when I was about 16. We moved from Maine to Virginia. And, after I had moved away, I came to, I came out of faith, and I started looking back and realizing that, I spent a lot of time in a church school, and I was, there was just a lot of punishment that was super, disproportional to what was going on. And there was
hitting the kids, that kind of stuff.
It was more like making us stand in uncomfortable positions for hours, locking us in rooms by ourselves. That sort of thing. Not a lot of interaction, and if we would act up, we'd have to clean the church and all.
That's the real punishment.
Not like regular cleaning, but spend 5-6 hours doing it.
Wow.
When you're doing that on top of your schoolwork, it's rough.
You shouldn't do that to children. I'm sorry to hear that, man. But it says in the notes that you have an update.
Yeah. More or less, after I had moved away, the pastor had gotten into some trouble. Apparently, he had been messing around with some of the female students. And I found out that he has he managed to avoid any of that sort of trouble, and he is now running a church on the other side of the country. And I feel an obligation to say something about it, but I don't know how to deal with this.
Well, you call in.
Yeah.
So do you follow the Freedom from Religion Foundation, FFRF?
I've heard of them recently.
Call them. They have a newsletter that I've gotten for years that I absolutely adore. And in that newsletter, there's the Black Collar Crime Blotter. And they actually highlight and bring up the heinous abuses that happen every single week all over the place.
And they bring it up because you won't read about it anywhere else. Newspaper editors have to make decisions about what they put out, and they know, I'm a mainstream newspaper. If I start putting out anything bad about the local church or the church next door, people aren't going to buy my paper. And that's a pressure that means that people don't see that. And we shine a light on that because people need to know.
Now, there are, you would expect, just like your example, a lot of cases of pastors going and, sexually assaulting people and children. And that's horrendous. And there are other things, though, that we don't really think about, that are gimmies for Christians that we really should be looking at. There are so many cases of embezzling and fraud because people turn the other way when it comes to keeping the books for a church. And so you see a ton of that. And it's wild. Call the Freedom from Religion Foundation. That is a great resource to go to. Let people know. Find out. And when you do that, when you share that, it makes it a little harder for fuckers like that to keep going.
Yeah.
And that's how we do it.
And actually,
we start there.
Sorry for cutting into your thing.
No, go ahead.
And then actually, there may be a reason that I'm not thinking of at the moment, but if you know where the new church is and what it's called, I'm not sure there's a reason not to say it right now on the show. Unless you didn't want to be identified with the pastor or whatever, but spread the word, because it's possible someone is watching right now from that church's hometown.
Was this pastor actually charged with anything?
Oh, yeah, we don't want to slap
I don't necessarily know. It's really difficult to get information because it's a very small town, and he was the chaplain at the police department.
Got it. Yeah, let's not give details because we could be legally liable.
Of course, yeah, that's more or less. That's one of the thoughts. That's one of the concerns I had about this entire thing to begin with.
Yeah,
absolutely. It could be in your town.
It's true.
That's what we're saying. It could be in your town.
I was going to say, I'll take those legal risks on my channel. Reach out to me, Mike. Maybe. We'll see.
And that was the end of Jamie's channel.
Yeah.
Mike.
It had a super long run of 24 hours.
I know that we weren't diving deep into epistemic issues or anything like that, but I saw this in the notes on the lines, and it's like, holy shit, we do need to draw attention to it. And I'm glad that you called in. I'm glad that you're standing up and saying something. Please call FFRF. Will you do that?
Yes, I absolutely will. I really appreciate what you guys do here. And
cheers, man.
And thank you.
Jamie, condolences on your cat. I'm a dog person myself, but that sucks.
I
promise not to. I promise not to hold it against you. But
take care, dude.
Thank you. Yeah. And then also, real quick before you go,
you've got it.
You should.
I'm sorry.
You're so efficient with your going through because we got to talk to people. But if you need support, I was going to say recovering from religion as well would be a good one.
Yes, it would. I am so sorry.
And tell them we recommended you rather than that other show that comes on after us. But
actually, yeah, it gets us brownie points with Daryl, right?
True, yeah. So the ACA shows actually, I think, is the largest source of referrals that they get. Largest single source of referrals.
It is, and
also, we're going to win. So.
Also a massive source of volunteer work.
Yes.
Tons of people have contacted Recovering from Religion and said, hey, I'd like to become a phone operator. And if you do, you don't have to go anywhere. You can download the software on your laptop or your computer. Say when you're available. You don't have to be super available, but when you can, they will train you and you can be there for people in need. And it is fucking amazing. It is a peer support line that is absolutely worth your time. So Recovering from Religion, Hotline Project, good call.
I was going to say, and there's no minimum requirement for help. So even if 1 hour a month or half an hour a month is all you can do, it's helpful. Trust us, we know. Talking to people and helping them with this stuff.
Absolutely.
Is very rewarding.
And a tiny bit can go a long, long way.
I mean, what do we really do?
But when it comes to charity, I would love to talk to Dustin in Pennsylvania. Dustin, you're talking to Eric and Jamie. How are you doing? Dustin.
Hey, did you mean Justin?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Let me change that in the system.
I was like, wait, Dustin, Pennsylvania, I don't know.
Nope.
But
we're talking
Justin.
to you. Hi, Justin.
How you guys doing?
What's up, J-Dog?
We're doing okay. I know that Jamie's in mourning and is holding it together the best he can.
Yeah.
And we're both excited and chomping at the bit and trying not to kill each other over having launched our channels. But other than that, we're doing all right. What did you want to talk about today?
Well, so basically, I tried calling in to the Atheist Experience twice, but I had a hard time staying on hold for a while. Just because of my work schedule. I run a charity called Emma. It's just mixed martial arts for mental health charities, where we basically just I teach and donate a percentage of the proceeds to whichever charity of the month we're going with. Other coaches participate. And basically, I'll put out, something in the paper and on social media saying we're taking requests for which charities that people want to fundraise for this month. Mm-hmm. And it's very clear that we're for mental health charities. Like, it's literally MMA for mental health charities. And so I had a couple people requesting we run fundraisers for some Christian charities, and I said I wouldn't do it. And I've been getting harassed for it, publicly. We have a Facebook page, and they've been posting on it, putting things like, don't support this charity, the founder. Basically, that morality argument, I don't even know how to really. They said I have no sense. I can't possibly have a moral framework that would lead me to want to do charity work, because since I don't believe in God, I'm inherently selfish, and anything I would do for the charity would lead to a selfish or evil end, such as embezzling funds.
I'm just okay.
Is this the piss off episode?
I am so done being told that I am close-minded and don't accept evidence, etc. Because there are Christians that go, oh, look, an atheist running a charity. Atheists don't like running charities. You literally just saw that happen.
It's like painting us like Boris and Natasha. All we do is plan and twiddle our mustaches. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you know what? Okay, so we can meet, just not you, but when it comes to religious people calling in, watching, and engaging with atheists, we can meet on common ground. We can say, you know what, I respect your autonomy. I respect that you are a human, and we can disagree on the idea. But when it comes to putting actual fucking charity at risk, when you're saying, you know what, no, my bullshit pet issue is more important than helping people, you have lost the argument.
Yeah.
I mean, how absolutely out of your mind are you if you think that taking away support for mental health of all fucking things is making you the good guy in your story? You need to take another look, because that is a seriously fucking villain thing to do. When I lived in California before I moved out to Texas, I would volunteer with local churches if I saw that they were doing something good. I helped fundraise for their Thanksgiving meals. I helped, get together food for Christmas. And it didn't matter to me that I was helping a church, because I wasn't putting my pet issue ahead of helping human beings. Because helping those people and giving families fucking Christmases and Thanksgivings, or helping them make sure that they weren't homeless, was more fucking important. And the fact that you know what, man? Speak up about it. I'm glad that you called in, because that is absolute horse shit.
Yeah, it really.
The way you're talking, the frustration, that's what I felt inside for a while, but now I just kind of feel heartbroken about it. I mean, there was one girl in particular who I told her, I was like, look, if you can justify these two passages, and I gave her Deuteronomy 20:21 and Timothy 11:12. I have my Bible with me, but I don't have it open to the exact pages. But it basically just talks about the subjugation of women and condoning rape. And I was like, if you can just justify those two and explain to me why I'm wrong and why that's okay, then I'll support the charity you want me to fundraise for. But I can't, in good consciousness, support something like that. I mean, I grew up Catholic, and, it took a long time for my family to come around to me being atheist. And, my mom, she told me she thought she failed as a mother when I first told her I didn't believe in God. And, here's the thing. And this is probably what pisses them off the most, Christians, is I won't say that I don't think their God exists. I'll say, look, if your God does exist, he's a murdering fucking psychopath. That's my opinion on it. So I wouldn't worship him anyway. And generally, I'm nice to people when I talk to them in public settings, but it's getting to a point where I don't even really know how to approach it. They're commenting on our YouTube channel. I mean, it's not that big. We only have a little over 2,000 subscribers, but I did like a podcast talking about, we were trying to raise funds for this like rehab rec center in Nanticoke, PA.
Well, and
they were like commenting on it. Like I had to delete the comments and get YouTube to disable them.
Wow. Yeah, that's
fucking
so and I do want to add in the caveat.
I cry about it, but it's just.
Yeah. I do want to add in the caveat that doesn't mean you should just support any, nonprofits or charities.
I've gone to that psych rehab place.
Yeah. Well, no. I'm just adding as a caveat to the statement that I had made was obviously do your homework on charities. That said, if you are actively dissuading people from donating to a charity that is doing good work, you're a fucking monster. Just putting that out there.
You're actively advocating against human well-being because I do my best to avoid the strongest possible language about religion because it can be off-putting for people that could otherwise be reached. But I hope that everyone understands why the phrase, Hitchens' book, Religion, I think it's Poisons Everything. Yeah, why he titled it that. Because it is literally large groups of people saying, well, there's this thing we can demonstrate, et cetera, that's more important than you and human well-being. If something that is good for God happens that causes the suffering of 1 million people, that's still good, is consistent with this worldview and ideology. And I firmly fucking disagree. No. I work for the betterment of human beings, period, regardless of religion.
No, I agree. Like, I'm sorry. Are you saying something? Your voice is like moving on the screen, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't look at the screen. Just pay attention to the phone line, man. It is real hard to do that.
What I was going to say is when people ask me where I get my moral framework from, I'll just say, I'm an independent humanist, and I don't know if that's like a regular term, but that's just what I say. And I just say, if they ask me what that means, I'll be like, I just want to do what's in the best interest of myself and the people around me. And I don't want to do anything that's good for myself if it's going to hurt people. And I don't think it's really that complicated. I mean, all the charity is like I teach for a living and I get paid to teach, but then I'll have a day or two a week where I'll just teach for free. Because, I mean, mixed martial arts training, it used to be cheap, but now it's like $200 to $250 for like big fancy gyms. So I rented out like these 2 20 by 20 garages and built 2 MMA gyms in there.
Well, so
people could just come down and we just teach self-defense. Like it's not even
Justin.
It's not like we're doing anything crazy. I'm not on public square like protesting against Jesus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Justin. Before we move on to the next call, I'm totally okay with letting Justin plug his channel. What do you think?
I think we can do that. Yeah. We'll also do. So we haven't previously coordinated. We're gonna check out the charity as well, but
if it turns out you're an asshole, we're gonna slander you.
We're gonna say episode. That, and we'll probably do something with the clip of this bit. Yep. So
good call. All right, Justin, what's your channel?
It's MMA and is the and symbol fitness for charity.
MMA and fitness for charity. All right, definitely. After y'all finish this video, check it out, and we will investigate as well. But Justin,
I did a podcast by myself real quick that I kind of like explain everything. It's 53 minutes. I mean, hopefully
Justin,
you guys don't think I'm an asshole. I'm definitely an asshole.
No.
You're not.
We don't.
I'm just trying to keep. I'm just trying to keep things on rails. I know I'm interrupting you, but I'm trying to shape the conversation.
I wasn't trying to call the plug.
No, you didn't. I was the one who brought it up. You're solid. Mm-hmm. Take care, brother. Okay. Have a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Let me just say one last thing, right? Because if you're watching this on a clip, that means you didn't necessarily see the beginning of this episode. And so yesterday my cat Hank died, right? And so instead of, grinding nails between my teeth, buckling down and getting an F-ton of things done for my channel, which was my plan, I got one thing done super late at night because In my mind, I know that, whatever. It's like Hank's life was better when I did better because I was his source of food and comfort and care. But in any case, when that happened, it wasn't just non-believers that came to my house to comfort me. It wasn't just non-believers that called me with condolences and sent me messages of condolences. Christians did. People that are Christians did as well. People that were raised Wiccan did as well. Why? Because they're human, and that's all it takes. When it comes to helping other human beings, it's not Christians versus everyone else. It's not you versus me if you're watching this and a believer. It's not that fucking complicated. People need help. Let's help them. It doesn't matter whether you believe in God or not. We know, we all believe in human suffering and that it happens, and we all think that it should stop. Why isn't that enough to work together on it?
Well,
rhetorical question.
You're just a angry atheist who.
It's obvious that I'm angry because actually the opposite of everything that I just said is what I believe because Jesus or something.
I got you. Before we move on to the next caller, I do want to thank our top 5 patrons. It's that time.
Sorry, someone in the chat just typed, he said fuck, lol, and I'm like, okay.
Our top 5 patrons are Charlotte Crum, Desert Heathen, Bethany P., Dr. Funkenstein, and Joe Joyner. There's a thing going on with my voice, and I like it. It's like the movie phone voice right now. I don't want to drink water. Let's do this.
Perhaps you shouldn't then.
If you'd like to become a patron and have your name read out, you can go to patreon.com/talkheathen to me. That's patreon.com/talkheathen. Okay.
Patreon.com/talkheathen to me.
All right, let's move on to Demi in New Jersey. Demi, you're talking to Eric and Jamie. How you doing?
How are you?
Hello.
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 Yes,
can you hear me?
Yes, we can. What would you like to talk about today?
Oh, hi. Hi, Eric. Hi, Jamie.
Hello.
Hi. What did you want to talk about today?
I don't know if you guys remember me. I called into your show before. It was a while ago, though. But I don't even know if I should talk about it now. Like, you guys have been pissed off enough.
No, that's okay.
Hey,
people like seeing us pissed off. What's up?
And my condolences about your cat, Jamie.
Thank you.
I lost my guinea pig recently.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm really sad too. Sorry.
It makes me think of my guinea pig, Max. Yeah. No, we all love her fur babies.
Yeah, I miss my guinea pig, Jessie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've called in before. Remember, do you guys remember? I don't know if you do.
Let's start from the beginning because I know that there are people watching this who definitely haven't seen it. So let's get a quick primer up and maybe see what we're adding to it.
Okay, so I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness because my family was most Jehovah's Witness and Catholic.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And yeah, I've been really conflicted about the whole God thing, but I'm not confused about religion. I don't like religion, but I've been so conflicted about God and about do I have the soul? And I called because I was really confused about that.
Yeah.
And you guys were talking to me about that.
We haven't talked about the soul in a long time.
Yeah. So
anyway, go ahead.
So what I was going to say is, if you think about why people believe in gods and where that message is carried on, it's carried on through religion and religious traditions. And one of the positions I know that Eric and I share, that's not that hard to guess, is that they don't do that well, right? Like they've not succeeded. They failed in supplying sufficient reason to believe in a God. And one of the questions that many religions attempt to answer is, what happens after we die? What is the essence of a human being? And they posit the answer, a soul. But you have your doubts about religion, and presumably that goes with specific religious teachings. But the question of what happens after we die, do we have an essential essence other than just a physical body that makes us up, remains.
Yeah.
And you have an answer that, admittedly, if you're not a big fan of religions and what they say and what they posit, you don't necessarily have a good answer for. But you have a bad answer for it, and that's the only answer we have. And right now, we don't have a good answer. And it's hard to walk away from a bad answer and find yourself with no answer. And so I feel like that's where you're at.
Having a place to land helps, definitely.
Having a place to land helps. Although, but particularly with the soul specifically, we
Demi,
know enough to doubt.
That's what you called the last time.
Yeah, that's why I called last.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were...
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt Jamie, but I was like, dude, you're going on like a thing. And this is Jamie turning red. Demi.
Sorry. I didn't mean to make you go through all that again.
No, that's okay. We like talking about it.
Yeah.
So how, I mean, I'm assuming existential crisis, but I'm not going to.
That was a recap.
Yeah.
But
where are you now?
Where am I now? Oh boy.
You were recapping. I can tell you what it says in the notes about what you want to talk about, but
I'm really conflicted about. I'm really conflicted about some things.
Okay.
Gods, and demons.
Okay.
Things like that.
Supernatural
things.
Because
I've had
What is this conflict? Is this I believe it and I'm upset and worried and I'm battling demons, or is this it's something that I believed and now I don't have reason for? Like, help me out. No, I need a little bit more information.
Okay. Recently, I had a very scary experience, and I basically have been. It was so scary that it knocked me off my feet.
Okay. And what was it?
I fell backward.
Take your time.
This is gonna sound really crazy. And I have a therapist, and she told me I'm not schizophrenic. So please don't think I'm crazy.
No, I mean, we just talked earlier this episode about how hallucinations and mental breaks happen to everybody.
Yeah.
So could we say that you experienced a potential hallucination or mental break that you might be chalking up to being the existence of demons or the supernatural?
Well, this is what I'm being told. That I'm literally being told by everyone around me that the demons are fucking with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely get it. So
and that scares the shit out of me.
It absolutely does. It empowers and enables just horrible shit especially when it comes to our mental health.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I there's this Facebook meme I saw, and I'm sure everybody's seen it, and it's I'm not superstitious until it's dark and I'm alone. And then I'm a little stitious. I'm not superstitious. I'm a little stitious.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being afraid of the dark.
Yeah, it has it does have this primal impact on us, and trying to reason yourself out. Yeah, you can hold on to those reasons, and eventually over time it helps. But when you're in the moment, especially when you're being told that, oh my gosh, there are demons, Demi, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry. I literally my family wants me to seek spiritual counsel, and that they want me to pray, and they want me to talk to the elders, and my Catholic family wants me to come to their church and they want me to go whatever.
Yeah.
So
Hello?
Oh no.
We lost her.
So I think that we can still answer the question even though she's not on right now.
One of the things in the notes that I was hoping that we would get to is depression, and that you have this kind of 1-2 punch of saying, okay, you're having an issue, and once you start going through this crisis, well, that crisis is actually more demons, and it is so detrimental, and working your way back from that trauma is going to take a very long time. But if you are experiencing depression, if you are having trouble, determining what is real and what is not real as far as hallucinations are concerned, get help. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means you would take your car to get a tune-up. So why wouldn't you take yourself? You would go to the doctor. What would you really tell somebody that's diabetic? Oh, well, I really don't think you should be taking that insulin. What if you get addicted to it?
Am I back yet?
Yes,
yeah,
you are.
Oh, there you are. Hey.
Hey.
Sorry,
Hi, sorry, we got disconnected.
That's fine. How much of what Eric was just saying did you catch?
Oh, none of it.
Okay, so right. He wanted to address depression. Here, I'll do a quick recap for you. He wanted to address depression and how it's...
I actually have depression and anxiety. And this is really like, I'm in a lot of mental anguish and pain. And this is just, it's like, it's crushing me.
Please, Demi, call Recovering from Religion. Check out the Hotline Project, and please, the Secular Therapy Project. They can help you, put you in touch with a therapist if you don't have one. If you do have one, make sure that you're making those appointments. Make sure that you're caught up on your meds. And the fact is, even if demons existed, that advice still holds. There's no reason not to. It's not one or the other. Take care of yourself, okay? Please do. I'm so sorry you're dealing with it.
I'm afraid to even bring it up to my therapist because what if she agrees?
So if that's the case, right, then it's actually a really good thing to find out because then you can get a new therapist. But holding that in, look, there are lots of things, lots of different aspects of my life, but there is nothing that doesn't go to my therapist. Their job is to help you. And the best way to do that is to be honest with them, to talk to them and be open, because it's the only way that you're going to be able to get help from them for it. Please do.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to me again.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you called in, and big hugs. We have an amazing community on Discord. Please give it a shout. Check it out because there are people that you can talk to, and I do know that it is a really big help. So check out our Discord. The producers are sending you love rings right now. Big hugs. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Demi.
Bye, Demi. I hope we hear from you again soon.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, actually, we got a call from Kemal.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Kemal.
Wait a minute.
Hey, we saw you.
What's going on, brother?
How's it going, dude?
Man, same old soup, just reheated, brother.
I haven't heard that expression before, but I'm definitely going to use it.
I like it.
Hey, man. Okay. I think I did. I think I got a chance to tell you the other day that I really appreciate you helping me without you even knowing it, helping me go seek therapy. I go see my therapist once a week, and she's really brought out a lot of stuff that I never thought that I would even talk about, man, especially, military and all that kind of stuff, things that I've never talked to anyone about. I was able to talk to her. I've been able to slowly, let things out. And I really appreciate that about you, brother, because when you said that you went to therapy, you know how you make a you draw a picture of someone in your mind and you think they got their shit together. Oh man, they they good. They got their shit. Not saying that you don't, but I would have never thought that you were seeking therapy for anything.
Oh, dude.
You just seemed like you had your shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you could pick me up and shake me and I'd probably rattle.
Right.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So when you said it was on one particular show, you said it, and I was watching it, and I just said, wait a minute, what? This brother go to therapy? Oh man, I was like, the hell with it. I'm gonna do this.
God.
And then when I got to talking on the Discord, some of the kindest people I've ever met on that Discord, man, some great people. And I asked a friend on there the same question. I'm going to Detroit next week, around the 10th of next month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see my son, that was the main reason I was going. Should I go see my family? Should I go to my sister's house? Should I go to each one of my brother's house?
So
would I be wrong?
No, you have a couple choices, and I don't know all of them because I don't know your family. But I could tell you just two off the bat. One of them is most important, and that one thing is your well-being is more important. And if engaging would hurt that well-being, then you are entitled to live that best life of yours, and you do not owe them a fucking thing. Now, that said, I have talked to you, and you have expressed that you do want to have relationships with them, and you want to try. And I have seen situations where people have, kind of gone the I'm an atheist route, and that separation happens, and then both sides are waiting for the other one to initiate conversation. And they're scared. And this feeling, this anxiety, right, of, well, will they want to talk to me? Do they still love me? Is this something that they want to pick up? How do I know that this is still, viable, that this family is still something that I should be calling a family? They may be thinking the same thing. Well, they don't believe the same thing I do. Do they still love me? Can they still love me?
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say it can do a lot to bridge that gap. But if you are not ready or don't want to or think, you know what, man, that's not my family. My family they're done. You're absolutely entitled, but it's going to be about what's best for you, dude.
My biggest fear is that I know at least one of them, the youngest. I know at least me and him, if I go to see him, it'll be okay. It'll probably trip him out because I didn't plan on, I wasn't going to tell anyone I was coming. I was just going to go. And I'm sure I'll get a greeting from him. But the other two is what terrified me. And I had anxiety, man. I was tripping the other day, man. I was like, oh, man, what if they say no? What if they slam the door in my face or some shit like that? What if they just don't, that'd hurt, man. I gotta be real with you. That'd fuck me up, man. That'd devastate me if they did that to me. And as terrified as that as I am, I'm still willing to risk it and go be the one to go do it.
Yeah.
And if they turn their back on me, then so be it. If they say, which I guess they already have, but
if you approach with that attitude, hey, I'm going to try. If you try and it turns out they don't want that, then you don't have any ownership there. You did the best you can, and they have to live with their choices. You don't have to. You don't have to suffer for the consequence of what somebody else does.
Right.
When you do approach it, I recommend that you be honest and you share that. Hey, I was afraid. I've been having a bunch of anxiety, and I was really nervous to reach out to you because I was afraid that you'd slam the door on me, or I am afraid that you'll slam the door on me. And generally, that has helped. I don't know your family and situation, like I said, but that has helped in mine. is leading with that. Hey, I'm afraid. I care about you. And go from there. And if
one thing,
regardless.
go ahead. Bro.
No, regardless of what happens
go
with
ahead,
family.
Brother, go ahead.
Regardless of what happens
I'm
with
sorry.
family, you know you got one here, right?
For sure.
Good.
Absolutely. And the one thing that I heard and I don't go with gossip in there, but I don't really go for that. But when I heard this, that my sister said that she didn't want me because my son's an atheist, and she was afraid that because I have one of my nephews were really close. The one that I got, he was interested in rap and basketball, rap and football, and I told him that was a good thing. It's okay, but he also showed an interest in weather because he's in the wintertime he saw a lightning bolt, and I was trying to explain. It was really fascinating to him, so I really got him into it. I started. I went and found out why, that happened. And he got really, and now he wants to be a meteorologist. So I really have.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I told him, fuck rap. I mean, fuck sports. Go do something that's going to help somebody. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And so she knows that I have influence over my nieces and over more my nephews than my nieces because, but, Dante, he's a little older now. It's been 5 years since I've been back to Detroit. And also, me and my son was talking about me moving back to Detroit. We talked last night for a long time. And he said, first, just come home. And he said he's not trying to make me come home or no shit like that. He know I like it down here in Alabama because it's peaceful and it's quiet, and that's what I want. But I can, and he was like, you can still find that here in Michigan. You don't have to be 900 miles away. And I've been thinking about that, but it's not a definite thing whether I'm gonna move back to Detroit or not. But I'm just gonna go home first and visit and see what's cracking, see how everybody received me. And I'll go from there.
Well, we're all pulling for you, and I want to hear what happens, regardless.
Yeah, the chat is full of love for you right now.
Absolutely, tons. But
this is the first time I got to meet you, Jamie. You're a cool dude, man. I see.
You're pretty cool too.
Yeah, sometimes I've watched some of the shows where you are like the calmest. I wish I could do that, bro, because you are like the calmest person. You can blow up now. I've seen you go off on some dudes, but you normally you a peaceful. When I see you, knowing you're a peaceful dude, and you try to make, especially when you got Matt on there, boy, because Matt, that's my dog, because he gonna give a rat's ass. He gonna say what he feel, whether no matter,
Yeah,
that's my dog.
Mm-hmm.
But Jamie, you good people too, man. I'm glad it's the first time I get to meet you.
Yeah.
Well, cheers, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Hey.
I'd actually forgotten that I hadn't been on when you'd called a little bit, because I was like, I haven't remembered what I've said to him. But I've seen the previous episodes you've been on, and you're pretty badass yourself there, Kemal, actually.
Incredibly
Thanks
brave.
a lot, bro.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Take it easy, man.
Hey, guys, it was nice talking to y'all, and I'll talk to you soon. I'll let you know what's up, Eric.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Take care.
Peace.
I'll probably see you on Discord. Bye.
Right. Yeah.
That was Kemal.
Yeah, that was
like
Kemal. Kemal's great.
Yeah, he has made me cry several times.
Kemal, who is always on the ball. So
Definitely. So let's move on and talk to Justin in Tennessee. Justin, you're talking to Eric and Jamie. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are y'all?
Doing all right. Yeah. So I got a message from the back, and I probably should have said this before taking the call. Sorry, Justin. We're getting a ton of calls that are just shooting through the queue, and they're not people who want to talk. They're just people who want to give their condolences.
Yeah, I was gonna hold that to the end and then just
Sorry.
dump all of it. No, you're fine. But yeah, it does help. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, Justin. What did you want to talk about?
First off, I just want to say, salute to all of you. the calls before me that I'm hearing, like you don't understand what kind of help and assistance that you're providing people. And seriously, my hat is off to all of you guys. Seriously.
And you're a Christian caller, right?
Thank you, Justin.
I am.
Thank you.
All right.
Justin,
All right.
if there's any way that you can get away from the dogs barking, it is incredibly distracting, and my ADD is not going to allow me to listen to the rest.
I'll let you guys take another call.
Okay.
No. If you can step into a quiet.
Okay. That was going to be a good call.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I wanted to talk about heaven. Call back. We will talk to you.
Yeah, we will.
Our producer will kill us for it, but yes. Jeff in Michigan, you're talking to Eric and Jamie. How are you doing? Good. Jeff, what did you want to talk about? Jeff in Michigan. 3, 2, popping you back on hold. Chris in Germany.
Holy flying spaghetti monster.
Hey, wie geht's?
Hey.
Wie geht's, Eric?
Mein Deutsch ist schlecht. But I, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you doing? What did you want to talk about?
I'm so glad to talk to you, Eric, Jamie. Your sense of patience, it's amazing.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
What's up?
So what I want to talk about today is I'm from a Western country that's really secular. Like people who believe in some sort of God are in the minority, and people who believe in the actual Bible it's an even smaller minority. And I'm really interested in people who believe in wacky stuff. Sorry, American listeners.
No, you know what? I actually sat down and tried to think about what it must be like coming from a country where that kind of religious belief isn't a thing. And it's got to look so wild from your side.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. It probably looks like what North Korea looks like to us, where it's like, oh yeah, everyone just believes something that you think is a
and I'm really curious to hear like a first-hand account of what it's like to live in a Western country that the majority of people believe in the Bible.
Well, I mean, I could go on for days, but
you want to take the first part of this, or
sure?
No pressure. You were saying like, I could go on for days, therefore it's difficult for me to collect my thoughts and start. And I was like, oh, cool, start.
That's okay.
There's the spot, and you're on it now.
When you're born into it, it's not something that you necessarily recognize. And growing up a Christian, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I thought everybody believed. And over time, I wound up meeting people who they still believed, but it was different. They belonged to a different denomination. And then I remember I learned that one of my neighbors was a Jehovah's Witness, and that just blew my friggin'. I was like, wait, what? You don't what?
Yeah.
And over time, you wind up meeting. It's interesting because it's an exposure to the outside world. And I remember going with a friend to a church that everybody spoke in tongues. Now there was some speaking in tongues in my church, but that was few and far between. No, everybody was and rolling in the aisles, and it was absolutely wild. And I remember sitting there looking at this like, what is going on? and over time, you kind of this is this, that's that, and it's amazing that. What you have is this culture that, it is kind of like North Korea because people are encouraged to tell on each other. There is this idea that you want to display this perfect Christian. You want to be this ideal. And so you want the rest of the world to think that you're just so much better at it. And so your family, it doesn't matter what goes on behind closed doors, because when things are out, when you're out in public, you're expected to display this perfection. You're expected to be this exemplar because you're not of the world, right? The phrase is, we're in the world, not of the world. We are distinct, we are separate, and we can't let ourselves be drawn away, because the second you step away from the path, you may fall and never come back. And so it was this terrifying thing. And there was a culture that had all of its own issues. So we look at the news and we see all of this stuff going on, in politics, all these global political issues. But in church, we had our own set of issues. It was an entirely sustained world where it had its own language and its own views. There was, and there still is, all of this, I'm addicted to pornography. That was a thing that people would say. I'm addicted to masturbation. And the reason why they said it was an addiction is because they enjoyed it. Well, the fact is, number one, I don't believe in behavior addiction like that. I think that is a sign of obsessive compulsive disorder that came from talking a lot to Daryl Ray about it, is that if it's interrupting your ability to
process other things.
Well, not just process other things, but to have meaningful relationships or have a job, right? Then it's a compulsion that you need to work on. But no, it's no, you have this addiction. No, there is something deeply, deeply wrong with you, and you are fighting this inner demon. And dude, you can live your entire life in this place and never see the outside world. And so it kind of is its own kind of hermetically sealed bubble. Yeah. And I talked enough.
Oh yeah. Well, what I was gonna say is, you're fighting the inner demon of human attraction, right? There's so many parts of faith that, generalized faith in the United States, that when you look at it and think about it for a moment from the outside, it's just very much like, oh, look, here is an ideology and a worldview and a series of practices that oppose things that are naturally human. On so many levels. It's oh, we have this ideology, something human gets in the way, we ignore it, and also it's sin. But in terms of trying to figure out what it's like to live in a westernized country that is, chock full of believers, and there's references to belief and stuff all the time in culture, and even people that, I don't know how much American media or television you watch, there's all kinds of illusions, and clearly, when you think about it and analyze it, a lot of influence from a Christian worldview and self-sacrifice and freedom and individualism and all of these things. But it's sort of I don't know. It's difficult to describe what it's like to live in that world as a non-believer. But I would imagine, so I don't know whether did you deconvert or have you always been free?
I think I became an atheist when I was 4 years old, when my mother read to me a children's Bible. And I kind of recognized the cartoons I watched on TV are much more believable than the stuff that's in the book.
You were watching Bugs Bunny or no? So
the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja.
I had the biggest crush on April O'Neil. Anyway.
Oh my God. All right, maybe you were addicted to something. No,
right? There was one other thing.
Oh yeah.
Fear.
Finish yours and then I'll.
Yeah, what I wanted to say was the year 2000, Y2K, when the clock hit midnight. People were doing a whole bunch of different things, and I'll tell you what I was doing. I was 12 or 13 years old. I was on my knees, and I was crying, begging God, just praying fervently with a whole bunch of other people in my church, because we thought this is it. We're all going to get voiped up to heaven. And when we didn't, we were all grateful. But you have these instances where, everything is just the end of the world. There is no gray area. It is black and white. These are the end times. And everything that happens in the news is a sign. And it's just, it's wild. Sorry, go ahead, Jamie.
Oh yeah. Well, no. So you've sort of covered what the belief looks like, especially from the outside. But if you're trying to, there's another aspect of this that I think you maybe even didn't call in to think about, which is what is it like to live as a believer in a westernized country where you're then exposed to non-believers, right? Which might be something you're also interested in, given that you've lived practically your whole life as a non-believer. And it's sort of like just, for the most part, a thing that people grow up taking for granted. And the example that I try and use is the way that people in America, and that grow up here, think about democracy. Because it's just, like people have made arguments, I've heard people make arguments about Brexit, like, oh, the European Union isn't democratic. And that is the totality of one of their points. They don't then go on to make the argument why it is better for a system to be democratic than not. They don't even posit reasons for that, because it's just an assumed part of the culture that they grew up in. I don't know whether you've ever examined or how you think about, or if you even think about, democracy or things being democratic as a value. But it's like that. It's like, oh, well, this is godly, right? Oh, this is of the Bible. Of course it's good. I don't have to think about it. You don't even say, oh, of course it's good. It's just, it's like saying, oh, ice cream, right? Like, but even more so, because you're always hungry for God. Or, oh, you always believe that democracy is necessarily better, right?
And
I work with children, and then and at one point I was trying to tell them, like, no, I make the rules. And like, but we voted. We're voting to, and I'm like, doesn't matter. I'm in charge. Like, but you can't do that. I'm like, yeah, I can. Children are different, but it's just, it's a...
It's okay.
I can do what I want.
I know.
No, it's just a thing that seems normal usually. And it can be kind of frustrating, because there's friends, like even friends that I went to college with, where we went to, American University, that has a complete and utter diversity of political opinions, that where they just go, oh yeah, democracy, et cetera, right? But they also don't get why I would think about or analyze or respond to, like, religious questions or the influence of religion in politics. Probably some of them do so more now, because we're faced with, like, religion, the place that religion carves out for itself in American politics has become more difficult and nigh impossible to ignore now. But they're still like, oh, well, why would you do a channel? Why would you take something from people that makes them happy? Because, oh yeah, of course, my grandma's super religious is just a statement that goes without question, right? And it's weird, I suppose, is the one-word answer to your question.
And it's...
What is it like to live in a Western country where most people believe?
But it's also empowering, because it definitely gets us here. And it empowers us and emboldens us to make sure that there is at least an example. Because I know that I wish that more of this content would have been around for me.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that there's more content available for other people. The best thing that I can say, Chris, since you're coming from it having not believed, please don't be that smug, arrogant guy who's like, oh, everybody must be dumb if they believe. No.
Don't worry.
They're doing their best. Come from a place of empathy, because just like you would see somebody who came out of, North Korea, just like you'd see somebody who comes out of a cult or something like that, they've got a lot of work to do. They've got a long way to go. And, disparaging them because you weren't in their situation doesn't make it better. So, yeah, there's a bit of a call to action.
Yeah. To people that fundamentally were raised with or believe that, oh, this is a better system than democracy, to them, you look like what a Christian looks like to you, which is like, oh, they just believe this thing because, right? So, someone looks at you the way that you look at Christians, one. But then two, I would say it's probably not too dramatically different than living in a non-Western country where you're surrounded by believers. And now my knowledge of other countries and how religious their populations of, and my ignorance of that topic is on full display, because I don't know a lot.
That said, Chris, I think we're going to move on. But thank you for calling in, and hopefully that helps kind of shed some light on it.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. Engage with us on... Oh, he's gone.
That's okay.
Discord, Reddit.
There are other people watching. There are actually, over 1,700 people watching. You can still plug the Discord, Reddit.
Wow, we're like our. Oh yeah.
We've been averaging that, motherfucker.
I was gonna say, I haven't checked the numbers recently because I've been busy practicing how patient I can be while learning to edit sound and video and figure out why the bleepity bleep won't transfer the file from expletive. I know. Luckily, I have a good camera that I was.
Yeah. But so with that said, those of you who are watching live and who will watch in the future, it really does help if you subscribe. It really does help if you hit that thumbs up because it gets the message out there and we're able to reach more people. If you like what we do, if you appreciate the conversations that we're having, please consider, if you can, becoming a patron. Patreon.com/talkheathen to me. Jamie, dude, I am so freaking proud of you. But I know I know that I won the bet. I mean, okay.
All right.
That I won the
hold on, Mr. Pants, because I was going to very quickly thank you for saying that, because now I'm much less likely to cry while I say this. But I'd like to thank a couple of people that made a point of saying in the chat, I didn't catch your names if they went by, and calling in to give condolences. And there's a couple of people that donated in Hank's name. I only said less likely to make me cry. That donated in, thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to pull you back out of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got more sadness
I'm looking
for
at
later.
the Facebook poll. It looks like you're winning. You're at 44%. I'm at 31. Come on, okay.
Right.
No.
Well,
hold on. Wait. We're getting a message.
Oh, come on.
Really?
So there is also a third way opinion that we, in the fairness of debate and blah, 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 will put forward, which is that the opinion that an intro video to a channel doesn't count, which would cover the one that I released last night, and the one that he released after me last night also wouldn't count. So basically the choices are either I win or no one does. And luckily, I didn't have to put forward that opinion. So
regardless, Jamie, I'm really, really proud of you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you too, man.
Those of you who want to check out Jamie's channel, please do.
Yeah.
He is a funny guy, and I do love him. And
not just looking.
Really, if you want to follow Jamie on social media, you can look up Jamie the Heathen on literally anything. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I don't know how username, whatever. And now I've forgotten the thing. There's a thing that, I'm not on QQ, which is popular in China, and I'm not on, I forget what the name of Russian Facebook is. It's like KV or something.
Yeah.
So don't try and find me there. I only speak one language because I'm American. But everything else, at Jamie the Heathen, and then my Facebook page is actually Jamie D. Heathen, because I was feeling jokey that day. So,
rock on. Yeah, dude,
yeah.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you too, because you also launched your channel, and even though the first one doesn't count and the second one came after mine, you actually have 2 videos up and more subscribers than me. So if you're on Team Jamie, go ahead, subscribe to my channel. It's great. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, if you want to check out more of what I put out.
I was gonna say, check him out too.
Yeah.
This isn't a one-way street.
YouTube.com/Eric D. Murphy, I think, is where you can go.
He already has a custom URL because he has 100 subscribers, and I can't do that yet. So,
well, hopefully this time next. Okay, so we've got to continue this bet. This has got to continue.
I was going to say that. Well, it's gonna. I mean,
so
here's
the
continue
deal.
challenging each other, because this actually worked really well as motivational.
Okay,
because then I won, and I like that. So we should do that again.
So here's what I'm proposing.
Oh no, I mean,
one more month.
One more month.
So it is September 29th. I'm just going to round that up to the beginning of October. By the end of October, 4 videos of original content, 1 per week.
Okay, so
and
you mean why don't you give yourself Monday, which is also technically Rosh Hashanah or whatever? There's a story for why I know that right now it's not relevant. So from October the 1st to October 30th, the release or the filming of 4 videos. Let's do filming.
Let's do
Give
filming.
me a day to.
First
I've got
to the
other
31st.
stuff to focus my
Between
brain on.
1st and the 31st, 4 videos. And the person who does not do it puts out a video on their own channel declaring the other person the victor.
Yes. That, and eventually we're going to get to a place where there's going to be some way, because there's other, I think Vlogbrothers have done like, oh, you broke the rules, punishments or whatever, or someone had to eat like a blenderized Happy Meal and stuff.
That sounds real gross.
Yeah, I was going to say, we should come up with those so that Eric has to eat a blenderized Happy Meal. I'm in favor. No.
Team Eric?
No.
Team Eric or Team Jamie?
Hashtag Team Jamie.
You get to decide.
It's one of the few times where a false dichotomy I'm sort of a little bit okay with, because I think I'm going to win. It's great.
So I think we should probably wrap things up.
I think we should send out some love rings.
First, I want to say thank you. Yeah. To the people in the back who make this happen. Thank you so much. Can we get a round of applause? Thank you so much. If it weren't for them, we would not be able to do this show. They're here early. They're making everything set up and beautiful and all of it. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. We love you. I want to thank the live studio audience. Hello. Thank you so much.
I was going to say,
Jamie?
we now have very firsthand experience on the technical problems that come up producing a show, and neither of us has to deal with that fucking phone switch that's in there,
dude. So I was up with Ocean Keltoy till past 2 a.m. This morning, trying to get the filming, that we were planning on doing done. Technical issues the entire time. Right around 2:30, Ocean goes, Eric, bro. It's not going to happen. And I'm like, no, we need to do this. So, absolutely, that expertise. Jamie, love you, man.
Love you. You're a good sport, even when you lose. It's great.
You know what? If I lost, I will absolutely concede it. And if that's the case, you did finish something. You did put it out. I was
going to say, way to high road me. That's great.
No. In the spirit of it, I am damn proud of you. And in the spirit of it, I did not win it. And you did.
Well, so here's the thing is...
but if they both don't count, then it's on.
I was going to say, well, that, and then, so you got a video, even though you'd filmed it before, up, and you got your, like, Patreon set up, even though that wasn't part of the bet, and all your stuff going on, and I bet you have better pictures and backgrounds on your media than... Nope. Okay, cool. Help. Then never mind. I'm proud of you for the things that you did do, and think about it this way. I was proud of you enough that I just assumed you'd kicked ass everywhere.
Love you too, man.
Love you
now
too,
it's time. You want to throw them up?
Love rings. That's not a song yet, but it will be.
All right.
Hey, did you know that if you don't believe, there's a community here and communities online and communities everywhere we can encourage them to be.
We're doing our best.
Specifically for you.
To reach out.
Our best.
And we're glad that you're a part of it. Share it. Yeah. Get it out there. We're building this better world right fucking now.
And if you do believe in a god or gods or the supernatural,
I
hope that you know that we don't hate you. We just think you're wrong.
See you next week.
That was good. I'm really glad I did the show today.
I'm glad too. We definitely revisited it. And you know what? You're right.
What are we doing, man? What are we doing?
No, you're done.